Yep. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Backstory. My name is Alan Richard. I'm the managing broker at Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
My name's Ming Richardson. I'm the compliance broker for Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
And we kind of wanted to start off talking about one of the things that's kind of a big deal in the news right now. And so, talking about, all the lawsuits and all these kind of things going on. And really what it comes down to is,
Are you worth your commission?
yeah, are you worth it? How do you justify that? And I think it starts off with, like, first of all, does anyone feel like they should have to justify their commission? No, I don't think anyone likes it. No one enjoys it. That's not like, yeah, let me go justify how much I'm worth, or let's go talk about how much money I'm going to make. But these are like this is our environment. This is the market that you're in.
Well, and unfortunately, people are tapping into your income, and now you have to be in a position, not necessarily defending, but explain your value-added services.
Yeah, because the days are gone when it's just like commissions are just guaranteed. You don't have to worry about it. So now we have to be very intentional and talk to folks about where our compensation comes from, who pays our compensation, how that works. And really it comes down to, first of all, we have to make sure that we are identifying what our clients' biggest concerns are. So the concerns, if you're a buyer versus a seller, are normally pretty different. However, we need to understand what those concerns are. And then we also have to know, what is our value proposition? Like what value do you bring to the transaction? It's really, really crucial that you know what value that you bring to a real estate transaction. And then at that point, it's like, these are the services that I provide. These are the services that I offer.
Well, also, if you outline expectation and also knowing what the client would knowing what they're going to receive from you, I think that's a huge difference versus just say, well, I assume you know.
Yeah.
No, they don't, because this is 9 out of 10, this is first time they're buying the property. So this is important where you have buyer consultation to know exactly what their expectations are and what it consists of.
Right. So a buyer's presentation or a listing presentation, those are really crucial. The days of like, here, sign this agreement and I'll show you houses. That's not how you show any value.
Well, and a lot of time buyer don't understand what we do in the back end to make the deal work. So it is important for you to communicate that as well. So they don't feel like that you're just showing houses, write a contract, go to closing, get a fat check, because they don't understand all the fees involved in your end of it, as well as your time, resource, knowledge that you have to acquire in order to be on top of the market today. So just a backstory.
Yeah, exactly. So, at the end of the day, it comes down to, these are the services I provide. This is the value I bring. These are the fees that I charge. And when we're really upfront with that, there is no price fixing on any kind of commissions. You can charge whatever you want on that. It just has to be, these are the services I provide. These are the fees that I charge. No one is forced to pay you at all. And so like you have to understand that now we have to be able to come in and provide value. Now, the good part of that is that more transactions than ever used a real estate agent last year. Like, it just came in, even for sale by owner, dropped by almost 4% last year.
Well,
which is crazy.
The temperature is changing always. The sellers realize that without our assistance, they're not getting a good qualified buyers to purchase their property. Matter of fact, scammers are on the rise, you guys, and it's huge. They gotten really creative over time. And listen, if your alarm goes off, please be aware.
Yeah. All right. So we want to kind of jump over into like real world here kind of thing. And so I wanted to go and share with you. So something that we rolled out at our sales meeting last week, and actually George MLS rolled it out for us already, was Forewarn. So Forewarn is now, it is a member benefit through George MLS for all agents that are a member of George MLS. And we love the safety aspects of this. Now, you're not supposed to use this to do like background checks on clients or make any kind of decisions on clients and those kind of things. But that being said, this is great because it will tell you really quickly, like, does this person actually own any real estate? You know, a lot of times you'll say, hey, you know, I got a house to sell, and then
and they want to sell quickly for cash, and they're willing to take, 70% of market. That's investor dream all the time, that's buying properties. But we will tell you, 9 out of 10, you will never meet them in person.
Yeah.
And at closing, typically is a mail away.
Right.
And that's a lot of flags.
Well, we're talking about two different things here. You're talking about fraud. I'm talking about like Forewarn has a lot of great benefits for us. It does help. It can help us identify fraud, but it's there to keep us safe. Is that person that's calling? What is the name registered to that phone number?
Belong to that person's registered.
Right.
And for those, safety is important for us. So this tells us whether or not this person's legitimate on the other end, or is a scammer.
Have they had bankruptcies? Do they have any kind of legal pending actions going on?
These are all public record.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything that's not public record.
New.
Yeah.
If you were wanting to find something about someone, you can always look at public record.
Yeah.
So it just basically consolidate everything together for us, so we don't have to do the legwork, so to speak.
Yeah. And then for all Maximum One agents, we put in place KeyPleaz this past week, where, and that 80-20 rule in real estate is really pretty prevalent. About 20% of agents do about 80% of the business. So we end up with a good sized percentage of agents that are super busy, too busy to be able to do things, and then another big group of agents that would really love to pick up a little bit of work.
Yeah.
So if it comes,
it's better than Instant Cart.
Yeah. So it's better than, so if you want, you can do home showings for, like you can request that someone does a home showing, or you can
open house.
Yep. Most of the open houses are not done that way, but like if you needed somebody in a bind. But then the other thing that agents are really loving right now are the runner activities. Like, hey, I need you to go put a sign in a lockbox in this yard. I need you to go do this. I need you to go meet this client and get this, that kind of stuff. So those kind of things are turning out to be, it's already incredibly popular with our agents. So please, if you haven't signed up for it, take advantage of it. All the branch managers has the contact information if you need more information about it.
And honestly, you guys already
got emails. So
you should have received an email for our company. And please take a minute. It's not a scammer. It is something that we're implementing.
Yeah. All right. So now, the Wells Fargo has been doing this survey for a long time about it. It's kind of a barometer to test how people are feeling about the real estate market. And so out there, they're saying, who says it's a good time to buy versus a bad time to buy? And so right now, more and more people are saying it is a bad time to buy. It's not a good time to buy. And so it's been kind of going that way. And we know that is largely tied to interest rates. And we understand. However, we still understand that wealth in the United States is tied up into home ownership. And what's really interesting is, even though people are feeling pretty pessimistic right now, one other question that they ask is, if you were going to move,
would you rather
rent
buy or rent?
Buy? And 70% of the folks, 70% of those people who said it's not a great time to buy, said they would rather. But I will absolutely buy. It's okay. Rent. Yeah. I will buy versus rent.
So what happened is that the rental quality is not great. For the rental quality that meets a person's standard, typically are extremely high with amenities and stuff like that. So if they're gonna pay $2,500 a month, they're better off just buy a house.
Wealth in the United States is tied up in home ownership.
Correct.
The average, we just saw some new information that the net worth for the average renter is around $10,000, whereas the average net worth for the average homeowner is almost $400,000. It's not even close.
Yep.
So
because the interest rate on rental is 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is what I explained to my agent that says, but my client's saying the interest rate is so high, we can't do it. Well, okay, you want to wait next year when the interest rate drops? That's great. But understand, by the time you wait, everybody else is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And not only that, the houses appreciate in the Atlanta market on the average of 4% a year. So if you're taking a hit on interest rate, 2% higher than normal, but you're also taking a hit of 4% when you wait, because the house value has increased.
And especially for our real estate folks out there, don't, even though our consumers may have a very pessimistic attitude about things, like there's still a lot happening in the real estate market. Not only that,
Absolutely.
like life happens. Like in the next 2 years, there's going to be 7 million newborn babies. And what happens when you have a baby? What do you need? You need a house.
You need a
There's going to be
house.
3 million people that get married.
Well,
That half of those are going to get divorced. It's not a great statistic.
no, but it's the stability. So home come with the old feeling of stability that now you're settled versus you're just transient over. So, and there's 7 million people turning 65. What that means that they're looking for either upgrades
Downsizing.
or
Yeah.
downsizing.
Yeah.
So and there's 4 million deaths. So that give us a little more inventory, 4 million new jobs.
And 50 million job switches. And so a lot of times and the reason that we're highlighting these are key life events that normally correlate with buying and selling real estate. And so like you can see that that's what about 70 million opportunities on buying homes over the next 2 years. So even though folks may be pessimistic, they still know that home ownership is a really smart investment. And then life still happens. Even if you may not love the interest rates, it's still in a really, really good place.
Correct.
On there. So, all right, let's move on here. So let's see. Now, on the good news front, right? Inflation was flat in October from the month prior. And so not only was it flat, it actually dropped by about 4% versus what it was forecast, kind of thing. Overall, inflation has been coming down, and it came down real significantly to the point to where the markets are feeling like the Fed won't be raising interest rates again in the future. And so, core consumer pricing index actually dropped the lowest it's been in 2 years. Really good news, because when one thing that people don't realize is that interest rates really are indirectly tied to inflation. And so when we saw the inflation numbers come down, gosh, what did we see happen in interest rates?
Mortgage rate
They dropped. Yeah, they're actually lower already this week, kind of thing. So it dropped another 6/100ths of a point last week. And so, but that's 3 weeks in a row trending down, and we don't see that trend necessarily stopping anytime soon. The jobs came in not quite as good as they were expecting. So there's a lot of things going on that front. So we're really pleased to see that. Now, one other thing in the mortgage world kind of thing. So Fannie Mae has rolled out a 5% down payment
for multifamily properties.
Well, that multifamily properties comes with an asterisk. Duplexes, triplexes, quads. Just like up to now, you've been able to get a 3.5% mortgage.
3.5% on FHA.
Yes, thank you. That's what I was trying to say. Didn't really spit it out, kind of thing. Like if you were going to do a conventional loan, it took 15 to 25% down. Well, now
5%, y'all.
Right.
Huge.
But here's where the big difference is there. With FHA, that is an owner-occupied
property
requirement.
Right.
For Fannie Mae, this is an investor option right here. So like you can now invest in duplexes, quads, and triplexes with a conventional loan with only 5% down. So folks in the real estate world, expect that you're going to have investors starting to talk to you about duplexes, triplexes, and quads, because they're going to be able to get a much lower down payment on an investment property than they ever have before. So it's a really good place right now. So please look at that kind of moving forward. All right. So of all the groups out there, who puts the highest importance on the opportunity to rent out a portion of their home for rental income
while living in a home?
Yeah, millennials want to rent out part of their homes. Now, also in addition to that, millennials say, what about when I move up? What if I buy another home? These are also the group that is most likely to hang on to their property and rent out their entire property in the future. And so really what this comes down to is, for millennials, much more so than any group, millennials see real estate, see buying a home
as an investment.
Exactly. It is so much more of an investment. And so when you're talking to millennial buyers, what do you need to make sure that you're talking about?
investment opportunity
Yeah, well,
and wealth building.
exactly the amount of equity that the property grows in. What's happening with rent. I mean, your mortgage payments versus uh, what you could actually get in rental income. How it cash flows. Those kind of things are really, really powerful talking points for our millennials, and we're really glad to see that. But this is much more of a financial decision than an emotional decision.
So that's a portion on the top graph. On the bottom half is actually they rent out the entire home.
Yeah.
So there's your graph. There's more millennial that actually are renting out entire property. And right now, DSCR loan is very popular. So talk to your lender
Debt
about
service coverage ratio, if you're wondering what that means.
So what that means is that if you can justify your monthly mortgage versus your income that you're going to be receiving, lenders are doing those loans right now. So ask them about the loans.
Yep. All right. Now, great news. Pending sales rose to its highest level in a year. And we are so grateful to kind of see that. You can actually see what's happening with pending sales. Now,
and this is during a month where the interest rate was pretty high.
Well, and what we're seeing is that our level, our overall, sales levels where we want them to be. No, but you can see there's a real significant trend in what is normally trending down. Right? We normally trend down this time of year, so home ownership is still a very important piece of our market out there, and so pending sales increasing this time of year, which is kind of a oxymoron almost for us kind of thing. We're glad to kind of see that going on. I don't think it's going to hold in November, but we are seeing that through October. Now, at the same time, the other thing we found really interesting is we also have the highest fall through rate on record for home purchases that are falling through.
So what does that mean?
Well, I mean, what we're seeing is you get a property under contract and it dies during due diligence.
Correct.
And so right now, so like the national average is I think it's 17%. However, in Atlanta, it's 24.6. It's 25%. 1 out of 4 properties will fall out in the Atlanta area. That's a really big deal for a couple of reasons here.
Well, one of them is that sellers can no longer sell property as is because the buyer is buying a premium product with the current interest rate. So therefore, they don't have a whole lot of money to do any repair. That's one of them. And we also have some fraud cases going right now where it's absentee seller.
You're big on fraud, but
Yeah,
that's not what this is.
I am. But
this is not fraud.
I want our agent to know that, make sure if your alarm's going off on stuff like that, please consult your broker.
Right. But that's not what this is.
All right. So
she's on the hot button for that.
Explain.
But what we're seeing is that during due diligence, those sellers that aren't willing to make repairs that the buyers are feeling are reasonable and make sense, those homes are dying on there. Also, as buyer's agents, do you need to go with your buyers on the home inspection? Yes, yes, and yes. It's so crucial that we are there to kind of ease fears and talk to our buyers about that.
Well, we had one agent that got really upset because there's a little hairline crack on the garage floor. So, traditionally, once again, I'm not a foundation specialist, disclaimer.
We revert,
but we always revert that to someone of expert. But because the agent wasn't on site to explain these are normal wear and tear, the buyer backed out without even hearing any explanation.
So, like we see where the days of the sellers just being able to put it out there and say, take it or leave it, they're not here. So we can't end our negotiations at the point to where, okay, well, now we're under contract, we're done. I'm not making any repairs. Well, guess what? 25% of them are falling out. Now, there is another thing I wanted to kind of highlight here. If you're a buyer's agent and you submit an offer and you don't win, there's a 25% chance
that you might get it in backup.
Become a agreed to signed backup offer, because one, that kind of enables you to kind of slide in, and for example, I have my home is listed, I put it out there. Let's say the buyer's agent comes back and then the buyer comes back and they're asking for ridiculous demands. Well, if I have a signed backup in my pocket right here, Am I going to listen to ridiculous demands? No, I'm going to go with a backup offer. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So there are two ways to look at this on both sides of things. One, I think our sellers need to be conscientious about what our buyers are asking for. But two, it's also an opportunity for buyers agents to be able to move their clients into the first position here.
Absolutely. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. So overall, our median sale price continuing to go up. It's like Ming said, home prices are up 4.2% year over year right now. And so
in Atlanta market.
Yeah, that's a really good place for us to be right now. New listings of homes, thank you, are finally up over last year. So
3%.
Last week we were flat. Now we're up 3%. So we haven't made like we're not making huge strides, but we are moving in the right direction. You can see that overall new listing homes is going down. That's normal for this time of year. It's just not going down as much as it normally does, which is nice because we need that inventory. Overall, total inventory, active listings of homes for sale, we're still around 9-10% below last year, which has been some of the lowest levels that we've had in a long time. So we don't have enough inventory of homes for sale right now. It's still, I mean, we're moving into a very balanced market is what we're moving into. You can see that in the number of properties that are falling out. You can see that on inventory rising, but it's not a buyer's market yet either. Its inventory is still tight. And so it's about good properties at good prices and good locations are still selling very quickly out there. So you can see that, over a third of all of our pending sales happen within 2 weeks. So it's still a really active market. It's not like the buyers are holding all the cards or the sellers are holding all the cards. We see it.
Is the property that are priced right with the condition of property and location that are selling off the shelves within 2 weeks.
But when we look at how many properties are falling out, well, when it really comes down to is how often are the buyers getting concessions from the sellers? And so overall, nationwide is 35%. That's not Atlanta, though. In the Atlanta metro area, 50% of all our properties have concessions. Now you need to let like we need to be able to share this with our sellers, right? Because you can see nationwide it might be a third, but here in the Atlanta area, it's 49.5% of all homes are sold with some sort of concession in there.
So, once again, the market's shifting in Atlanta. So please listen to what the trend is doing in order to get yourself to a position where you are going to transaction versus just sitting still for a long time.
Right. But now at the same time, what we're seeing is the price that you come out of the market and come out and hit the market on is so crucial because it's not just about concessions. Yes, they're offering concessions. What we're seeing is the longer the property sits in the market, now we're having to offer
lower sale price.
We're seeing where sellers are going below asking on there. They're offering home warranties. They're offering to buy down points. They're offering to make repairs. All these are more and more concessions that's going on. We need to be educating our sellers on this. I mean, when you put this data with the other data points that we showed you earlier, more properties are falling out. However, the ones that are going through are offering more concessions. So having a really hard-nosed seller that refuses to make any concessions or to move on price,
just to know your inventory
it's going to be a very frustrating sale process for your client and for you. This is the environment that we're in right now.
Correct.
So now I want to share a weird stat with you that and it's odd. Okay. And so in the US, we have more spare bedrooms than ever before. I know that sounds weird. And to me, like when I came across this data, I was like, it doesn't really make that big a deal. However, the group that has the most spare bedrooms are our seniors. Our seniors are doing a lot of aging in place. And so what we're seeing is that this is kind of giving a rise to other things that are affecting our housing market. One is multi-generational households. This year we hit the highest percentage of multi-generational households ever. Like if you've got a couple of spare bedrooms, next thing you know, the grandkids could move in with you and that kind of thing. And so, on one hand, it is kind of a safety net for young adults on there. It does open up a lot of opportunities for home sharing. And let's just face it, there's not a lot of starter homes out there. And so this continues to remain a challenge for us. And so this is not something that I found to be necessarily earth-shattering, but I do see where like
it's a benefit. I mean, honestly, because Alan and I was talking, I was like, in a couple of years, we're gonna be an empty nester. What are we gonna do with all the bedrooms?
Yeah, same kind of thing, right?
So,
I don't want them to move back in, though. I know that.
oh, come on.
Yeah, I know you would. I know you would. Yeah. All right. Now the builder's confidence has continued to drop. Now it looks like actually the volume that they've been building at hasn't necessarily dropped. However, they are very, they're watching the consumer sentiment indexes like we saw earlier. And so honestly, the builder's sentiment is as low as it was right after COVID, which is actually pretty crazy looking at it. But now what the builders are really keying in on is the same thing a lot of our buyers are.
First time home buyer.
No, yeah, interest rates, right? It all comes down. Yeah, the interest rates are the thing that is really it's bumming our builders out. They're worried about interest rates, and if you kind of watch and see what's happened with interest rates, like when interest rates spike, consumer builders' confidence goes down. By the way, so does regular consumers' confidence in the market out there. So
buying a house is very historically large tie into interest rate, but once again, it's about perception. How do you view certain things?
We should see that come up as we see the builder, as we see interest rates starting to soften on there. All right, let's jump into taxes. Yeah, woo. All right. Now here's the deal is that, so the IRS, everyone's friend and buddy, has released the new tax brackets for married folks filing jointly and well, even for single people out there kind of thing. And it shows these are the different tax brackets. And so you can see that the more you make, the higher your tax bracket is. And that's what percentage of tax that you're going to pay based on those amounts. Now, at the same time,
I would tell you our tax bracket is probably one of the lowest.
We're not getting political.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, I'm just saying
it
is.
So now at the same time, they also went out and they updated what the standard deductions are for single, married, filing jointly, separately, all that kind of stuff. And we want to kind of encourage you here to be wise. So many real estate folks do not manage their tax situations properly. Like when you get paid, you need to put a third of that money over to the side so that you can pay taxes when the time is right. Now, in addition to that, though, like I know so many agents that are taking standard deductions, and it hurts my brain when I see you doing that, because it doesn't make any sense. It's like those folks who like when you talk to a for sale by owner and they say, I can't afford to hire an agent. No, you're going to sell. You're going to make a lot less money. Same thing with having a tax professional on your side. You are a small business. There's a lot of things that you can write off, and a lot of times we miss so many of those just because we don't want to hire an accountant. We don't want to track this.
With the write-off. If you're planning on purchasing a home within the next couple of years, you might want to be a little more conservative in writing off your taxes, because at the end of the day, the lender's going to look at it and said, okay, she makes this much or he makes this much, and we're going to show this much at the end of the year and actual income. How are you going to afford a $350,000 with this income, even though your gross may allow you to purchase that property? Just be
maybe
careful.
You do a bank statement loan, but the whole thing is, though, like I see a bigger concern than that. Agents that aren't taking as many. I know so many agents that basically pay Uncle Sam a lot more money than they do.
And as much as you guys are running around those mileage deduction, it does add up.
And everyone, you like, you can just watch folks on social media and that kind of stuff, just kind of like talk about millionaires and billionaires and how they game the system and they take advantage of people.
It's a legitimate write-off.
They write this stuff off. And so, like, if millionaires and billionaires are doing it, Why do you not think you should? I mean, maybe you're just
Make
very,
sure it's
you
legitimate.
may be very patriotic and you just may like paying more than you really should
All
for
right.
taxes. But like seriously, but I think it's so important that we treat our businesses like a business. And these are business deductions that you can write off. You can definitely do better with, writing off things than taking the standard deduction.
Correct.
So again, we don't own stock in any
Accountant.
yeah,
or
nothing. I'm not
finance.
promoting anyone. I'm just
You're
saying have
find a
one.
good tax accountant because they'll help you save money at the end of the day.
Yep. All right. Now we are teaming up with the May King Fire Department. And so in all of our offices, you will see boxes set up. And so what happened? This is a small community in coal country. And
25% of the family in that county has no running water or electricity. So they do live off the land, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And so, last year, I would think, was it last year they couldn't do it?
Well, last year they couldn't do it because
Yeah.
all the floods went through Kentucky and their
Whitesburg.
fire trucks got wiped out. And so they got new to them fire trucks. And
Repurposed.
normally what they do is they just take the heaviest set firemen and they put him in Santa suit and they go up into the back in the woods in the mountains and they give out little $5 toys and things like that.
And we would love for you to be part of that.
Yeah.
In conjunction with that, we're hosting a casino night. So bring, you can buy the chips and what.
Oh no buying it. Just bring
toys,
a present, bring a toy. We're not doing anything illegal or
no.
There's no real cash moving.
There's no cash moving around if you win anything. But anyways, it's just for you to have some fun time and spend with your fellow agents. If not family, bring some people. They don't have to be a real estate agent. All we're trying to do is help collect some toys for the Macon Fire Department.
Yeah. And then for any of your Max One swag, please hit up the MaxOneMarket.com in there. So we hope that you guys are set up for a great week. If we need any kind of service, please call, text, smoke signals. I know it's Thanksgiving week. Don't just turn everything off. Now's a great time to build relationships. Now's a great time to call your clients.
Reorganize.
Tell them how thankful you are of that.
Right.
So like now is a great follow-up, checkup time. Don't miss out on that.
Well, honestly, make a phone call. Say, hey, it's Thanksgiving week. I was thinking about you. I am very thankful for your past business. Is there anyone else that can use the service that you receive from?
No.
So these are some taglines, but make it your own. Make it your own personality. Spin it.
Good luck, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you. Have a great week.
Bye.
Happy Monday.